Well, I'm a king bee, buzzing around your hive. Well, I'm a king bee, buzzing around your hive.
Hello, hola, buenas noches, good evening. Salud. So we're here today to discuss the most genius films ever made in the history of cinema, okay? Now, I've been watching and collecting movies since I was a kid. Growing up, we had just a VHS video player, and I'd set that on record every night and just record everything that was on the TV, all the films that were broadcast on TV when I was growing up. I had them all in these weird, like, plastic VHS cases that look like library books, and then you put numbers on them, like 1 to 300 or however many you had. And so your shelf would look like a bookshelf, but inside was, you know, loads of VHS tapes. That was my generation growing up. But today's, you know, digital age, and you know, etc. So yeah, just as a introduction, always been a movie fan. So starting there, and then started, you know, buying VHS tapes when I was a kid, and then now DVDs and Blu-rays. Okay, so a collection of movies builds up over time. And what I find is when I look at other people's, you know, you go around somebody's house, and you have a little look through their DVD collection, and it's almost like somebody once said to me, a friend of mine once said to me, the way that dogs, when they first greet each other, they sniff each other's genitalia. It's the similar way that men, when they meet each other, they check out each other's film collections. And that always amused me, that little tale. Where was I? Okay, some movies. First and foremost, I've been around other people's collections, had a look, and I've gone, really, you've gone through collections, just gone, nope, really, yeah. And I'm guilty of owning a lot of shit movies and liking a lot of shit movies myself. You know, I've got a big stack of films over there which I'm going to show you. And a lot of those are shitty, what I consider to be terrible films. But I like them for some reason, you know, I like them, so I like to have them, because I enjoy watching them. But the distinction I'm trying to make here, that's why I'm doing this introduction, the distinction we're trying to make is what is it that makes a genius film? Now, I think I've got it into 3 categories. Firstly, it's a movie that you want to watch again and again and again and again, and it always entertains you. It has that longevity and timelessness, or a replay value that keeps you coming back for more. Secondly, I think it could be a movie that maybe the first time you watched it you didn't get all of it, perhaps, and so with repeated viewing you learn more about the film. Every time you see the movie you actually gain more from it each time. And then thirdly, finally, it's a movie that scholars would study, right? So a movie, you know, in universities all around the world, a movie that people would, you know, dissect and discuss at great length, a movie that would be more often than not in the top 100 movies of over time poll lists. So there you go. Perhaps a genius movie is all of those 3, all of the above. So let's start my genius shelf. Now, the bar is raised incredibly high here. You know, you don't get any more genius than this in cinema. It's a fact. It's pure and simple that this is the most genius film ever made. Godfather. If an alien came down from wherever and said to me, what is a film? I would just go, just take this, you know. Or maybe you wouldn't actually, perhaps, you know, that wouldn't be a good movie. You don't necessarily want aliens to see violence and things. I give them some Jim Carrey or something in that case. So the bar doesn't get any higher than here, okay? Godfather is number 1. Okay, so all the movies that I'm going to show you now are all going to be less genius than what I'm holding in my hands right here. This is the crown jewels of genius cinema, and everyone will agree to that. Everybody. These, surprisingly enough, I'm a huge fan of cinema, that these aren't my favourite movies, but I recognise the genius, okay? And I do enjoy them. They're just not my favourites, but I recognise the genius. Alright, so moving on, okay. Star Wars. This is representing the original 3 movies, the ones that I grew up on. It is not representing the new ones, just the originals. And here we have Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. These are the Christopher Nolan directed, starring Christian Bale as Batman movies. All 3 of them are genius, undoubtedly. This box here is representing the original Rambo. Rambo Part 1. Genius. This DVD pack here is representing Die Hard 1. Genius. Probably the most genius action movie ever made. This Batman box is representing the only genius film in here is the original Batman with Jack Nicholson as the Joker, starring Michael Keaton. The original genius film, Kim Basinger. That is the one. Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin were not genius films. Let me stress that. Just the original Batman. This DVD box here is representing, these are the Rocky films, so the genius ones, Rocky 1, Rocky 3, and Rocky 4. Rocky 1, 10 out of 10, genius film. Rocky 3, it's Mr. T, you know, Apollo Creed, pity the fool, you know. Rocky 4, I'm Drago, yeah, surely. They're the ones, 1, 3, and 4. Rocky 1, 3, and 4. Okay, moving on. We have, what we got? Some sci-fi. Okay, so now moving on, we have some sci-fi. Now, I'm putting in Prometheus. A lot of people might go, no way, Jay, what are you doing? But no, love this movie. Love the ideas. I've even been trying to reach Ridley Scott online, trying to say, you know, I have some great ideas for Prometheus 2. I love this movie. But it's not anywhere near as genius as this. This box here is representing Alien 1 and Aliens 1 and 2. Alien 3 and Alien 4, I enjoy them, but they're not genius films. So this box is representing Alien by Ridley Scott and Aliens, James Cameron. This DVD box here is representing The Matrix Part 1. The first time you see that movie, it's mind-blowing. It blows you away. First Matrix film. The second one and the third one were not genius films, although the Animatrix was actually pretty damn genius. It had 9 short animated Matrix stories that were done by different directors. That was, yeah, genius. Okay, so now we have some fantasy. The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. Loved it. Yeah, genius. Nothing else to say about it. Lord of the Rings, Blu-ray trilogy. Yeah, it's 10 out of 10. All 3 movies, genius. Okay, so now we come to my favourite actors. which will finish off this shelf of the Genius shelf. Okay, so now these guys are my favourite actors, so there will be some movies in here which you might be like, what? Why is that there? But because they're my favourites, they get a pass. They get a pass. All right. So we have Righteous Kill, my two favourite actors, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. It wasn't a great movie. It wasn't. It was sad. It should have been so good. But it makes its way onto the Genius shelf for me, because for me it's just a pleasure to see those two on screen together. Al Pacino, 88 Minutes. Not one of his better movies at all, but he's Pacino, and on my Genius shelf, he gets a pass. Insomnia. Genius film. Christopher Nolan directed. Robin Williams, Al Pacino, Hilary Swank. Genius. The Recruit. Al Pacino and Colin Farrell. It's not great, but it's Pacino. He gets a pass. The Devil's Advocate. Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves. Really enjoy this movie. It's by no means genius, but it's Pacino being genius and Keanu Reeves being wooden, so it gets a pass. Keanu Reeves doing what he does best, being wooden. Genius film in my hand right here. Johnny Depp and Al Pacino, Donnie Brasco, Michael Madsen. Genius film. Al Pacino, Carlito's Way, genius. Great movie. Sean Penn, Carlito's Way. Sean Penn is great as the coked up lawyer in this movie. Fucking brilliant. One of my favourite movies of all time, Al Pacino Scarface. It's just such a good movie. The soundtrack, the visuals, the crazy characters, it's just stunning. Great performance by Pacino. Probably my favourite of his performances, Scarface. Scarface. Tony Montana, man. Al Pacino's Serpico. Love this movie. This is a great 70s old school Al Pacino movie. It's really, really good. Serpico is genius. Al Pacino box set. Now the movies representing that are genius in here are Carlito's Way. I own that twice. Sea of Love. Yep. Scarface. I own that twice. Right, and they're the only and Justice for All. This one was good. Scent of a Woman. It won awards and stuff, but it's not a genius film. It's watchable. Two for the Money was terrible, but it's Al Pacino. It gets a pass. Okay, now we'll move on to my other favourite, Robert De Niro. Stone. Mila Jovovich, I will struggle with her name. Ed Norton, Robert De Niro. It's not a great movie at all, but it's Robert De Niro, and he's my favourite, so he gets a pass. The Score, Robert De Niro, Edward Norton, and Marlon Brando. I love this movie. Genius film. Really great movie. Good heist movie. Really, really great. Absolutely love it. Limitless. I really, really like this movie. I really enjoyed it. I think Brad Cooper and Robert De Niro worked very well together, and they made a good movie here. Robert De Niro, Jean Reno, Ronin. Genius. Genius film. End of. 15 Minutes, Robert De Niro. It's a really hard-hitting film, this one. He gets a pass. De Niro's in. If your name is De Niro or Pacino, you're in. You're on the Genius shelf. Copland. Look at the cast. Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro, Sylvester Stallone, Harvey Keitel. Genius film. A Bronx Tale, the first movie directed by Robert De Niro, starring Robert De Niro. Genius film. I just wish that it was the other way round. I wish that Robert De Niro played the gangster and the gangster played the bus driver. Would have been a better movie. Robert De Niro, Angel Heart with Mickey Rourke. Not one of my favourite movies, but seeing Robert De Niro as the devil peeling an egg with his fingernail is one of the creepiest things I've ever seen next to Freddy Krueger's glove when I was a kid. You know, absolutely awesome. Yeah, genius for that scene. Just genius for that scene when De Niro peels the egg with his fingernail. Robert De Niro, Raging Bull, genius, surely. This is one of the most hard-hitting films ever made. It's all black and white. It's a brutal portrayal of a very angry boxer character. Genius. The Deer Hunter, genius film. I don't like a lot of the movies, so I like to fast forward till we get to Vietnam, and then I'm like, yes! Yeah. That's the way I watch this movie, but yeah, the rest is good, you know, the wedding and... Genius. Genius film. Christopher Walken rolling with De Niro. Or the old Russian roulette. Genius. Right, I'm getting near the end here. Robert De Niro, this box of Robert De Niro. The genius films in here. Heat. I love Heat. Pacino and De Niro on screen together rolling. Genius film. Goodfellas. Naturally. Goodfellas, right? It's genius. It's like one of the finest films. The other movies in here aren't genius. City by the Sea and The Mission. I haven't seen The Mission. Might be genius. It's De Niro, he gets a pass. Another Robert De Niro box. Yep. Yes, yes, yes. No, no. Mean Streets. Genius. Taxi Driver. Genius. One of my all-time favourites. Casino. Genius. One of my all-time favourite films. Cape Fear. It was good. He gets a pass. Sleepers. It's pretty horrible, Sleepers. But De Niro gets a pass. He's in. And then we got a bit of sci-fi here that I overlooked earlier. This is the end of the video. This box represents Predator Part 1. I like Part 2 and I like Predators. But Predator 1 gets a pass onto the genius shelf. It's just a classic. And so there we are with the end of this broadcast. Next time I'll be going through another shelf on my genius shelf of movies that I think are genius. Please use the comment section below to add movies that you think are genius that should be on there. Nice one. Catch you later.
At my house I've got no shackles. You can come and look if you want to.